Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
We're continuing our coverage of all the new stuff from 2024.
Who would have thought?
This was probably the most successful Christmas film of this year.
That's what I was thinking. Like, who would have thought that all of these other movies that have come out, we've got Red One that saw a very large theatrical release and has a lot of star power behind it, if you think
Best
about
Christmas pageant ever, I feel like, did crickets when it was released.
Yup. You've got Dear Santa, the Jack Black movie that I feel like we have not watched it yet, but is not getting critical praise.
No. And then there's Our Little Secret, which I'm sure will be as good as this. It's in that same Netflix rom-com world. But this was like the thing everyone was talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
if it leans into everything that this movie leaned into, I think it'll be a good time. Because I had a good time with this.
I think that Netflix found this weird niche for themselves where it's like, on one hand, they are just doing the Hallmark thing, right? Like, they use the same actors and actresses as much as they can. It's all like super predictable, paint by numbers love stories. But I think that even with like The Christmas Prince and Princess Switch and a lot of those movies, there's a little bit more of a wink and nod and snarkiness in them.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like, I think, the snarkiest it's been. Like,
and I like that. That. I feel like one of my problems with some of the Hallmark movies. Now, again, you and I both have huge soft spots for those movies, I feel like. But even then, I feel like sometimes it's so fake that I really want them to lean into shit that they don't. To where some of them come across as boring.
I want to read you something.
Yeah, go for it.
And we're going to... I think this will set us up for how we discuss the rest of this movie.
Okay. Also, don't listen to this if you haven't watched Hot Frosty.
Yeah, you should watch this.
Not that there's a big spoilers coming, but it is a solid watch, and I want you to experience
your time.
it.
Yeah. So on Letterboxd, the most popular review for Hot Frosty is a 5-star review, and it says, "Hello, I wrote this movie." And then they wrote, "There's nothing crazier to me than the fact that 3 years ago, I dreamt up the title Hot Frosty and giggled like a madman. And then tonight, I got to watch Lacey Chabert and Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show talk about Hot Frosty while an audience cheered. Life can be funny sometimes." It was in 2021, I started pitching it to my friends in my best Norm Macdonald delivery and said, well, what if Frosty the Snowman came to life, but he was like a super hot dude? And we call it Hot Frosty. And everyone just started laughing. But over time, it burrowed under my skin. And for whatever reason, I couldn't let the idea go and decided I had to write this movie. And by God, I actually still got to call it Hot Frosty. And that makes me smile every time I see the opening credits. He goes, "Look, we were just coming out of the pandemic, and I was personally coming out of a time when my anxiety was at an all-time high. I wasn't loving myself, and I certainly wasn't loving the world. It's so easy to just shut down your life, to distract yourself from reality, and to say, I'll just take care of myself tomorrow. I wish I could see the world the way that Jack does, through fresh eyes, through endless optimism. He sees the good in all people, and why wouldn't he? Hatred is nurtured, not nature. He's sort of a snow person that I really could have used at that time, but he's also the sort of person that undoubtedly would have annoyed the shit out of me. After all, when you don't love yourself and someone unapologetically loves you, how dare they? Can't they see what a fucking mess I am? The movie's got laughs, yes. It's very silly, yes. And it's got a very hot Frosty. I mean, I really tried to make the heart of this movie something that felt real to me. Learning to love yourself, learning to find the ways to move on, learning to make the most of your limited time that you have on the planet, and, as Vulture correctly pointed out, learning how to persevere in the face of police's abuse of power. So it's finally here, Hot Frosty, title intact and everything, and I got to see it on the big screen at Netflix headquarters, which was a first for me. The person sitting to the left of me cried, and I'm not ashamed to say that made me feel awesome. I was blown away that this very silly idea I had 3 years ago is now a very silly, very sweet, very heartfelt movie that you can watch every holiday season, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I enjoyed writing it. Let it play on repeat on your TV. Make it the number one thing on Netflix's top 10. I don't know how their algorithm works, but I still think that would be really cool. And I think that he sums up all of the complicated emotions that people are having with this movie, because it is such a silly, dumb premise, but it works, and it does tug your heartstrings in a way that it doesn't. And the way he just described that, I think, opened up so much of me being like, oh, I get it now. I get why it worked for me.
Yeah. This movie, after you read that, I don't want to talk about it anymore, honestly. And I'm only doing it because I feel like that was it. Like that's what needed to be said about this movie. This movie, as much as it made me giggle and laugh multiple times because of the absurdity, and it knows it's absurd. It is well aware of
Dylan,
the situation it is in.
Did you clock that the movie opens the way we pitched a Frosty the Snowman live action trailer?
Yes. Well, that's the thing, is as you're describing what that guy said, or what the writer director did he direct it as well, or
I think he just wrote it. But like
what the writer had said, that sounded like you and I sitting in my living room pitching the live
Frosty
action
the Snowman.
Frosty.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what that felt like. And I'm not gonna lie, this did make me feel like we could probably do this if we go a little further. Like we need to re-listen to that, and jot down some more information. This movie, as much as it made me laugh, there are 3 points that I believe I wrote down in my notes that I started crying. Like definitely at least had tears. This movie has such heart, because the moral, it's not a Hallmark movie. The moral of the movie is loving yourself. And Lacey Chabert brings that up multiple times. Now, I will say that, spoilers, they do end up together at the end. I felt like that took away from that message just a little bit.
Yeah, if he had died and she was able to move on and love herself and be okay, I think that would have been. But I also can't see Netflix ever greenlighting that.
No.
And there's a chance that may have been his original ending. Like, I would love to talk to him and find out if that was the original ending, because it does feel tacked on.
I feel like this is somebody we could get to talk to us.
I'll try to message him, be like, yo, man, we got to talk about Hot Frosty.
Yeah, let's see if we can make it happen. So this movie starts out with Lacey Chabert in I'm not even going to say a broken down house. This is a very nice house in a very nice neighborhood that just has a few leaks and the heater's broken. So yes, it would cost a pretty penny, but this is a very, very nice house that I'm assuming has a very high mortgage, unless it was paid in full. I don't know what was going on. But Lacey Chabert is upset. She's kind of depressed. She's not really loving herself. She's not taking care of herself, as she even said. So she's working as a waitress at this restaurant that they own, if I remember correctly. Like they own the restaurant. I think she's the
owner. Yeah, she is the owner of the restaurant, as far as I know.
She is the owner of the restaurant.
Also, real quick.
Yeah.
This is so funny. So I am like, how hard would it be to reach out to this person? And I actually ended up on his website, and he went to Duke University, once paid to record a rap song for a reality TV show. So by definition, he is a professional rapper. Hot Frosty, not his first screenplay. He actually also wrote 5 Hallmark Christmas movies.
That tracks.
3 Wiser Men and a Boy, Christmas Under the Lights, The Santa Class, The Santa Summit, and The Merry Measure. But then this is the thing where I'm like, we're going to get this guy on our podcast, because he says, I also love a monster movie and once wrote a hard R-rated Hungry Hippos screenplay.
Oh yeah, we need him, because that movie's getting made next. Like with everything that's happening now, with all of these public domain properties becoming horror films, like how long until Hungry Hippos is that property is in the public domain?
Any second now. It's like, any second now.
Dude, you're gonna get your dream.
When we're done, I'm gonna email this dude, and we're gonna be like, what can Christmas 365 do to make the Hungry Hippos script a reality?
Lacey Chabert's character is feeling really down on her luck. She's not taking care of herself. She's not getting things fixed in her home. And she goes to her dry cleaner friends,
Yeah.
And
everybody loves her. I love how much of a small town vibe this is. She's walking down the street, everyone's saying hello, everyone knows her story.
Yeah.
She clearly has some friendship and past with one of the police officers, played by Joe Latrulio, where he's just willing to do anything for her. Like, everybody adores her.
So the dry cleaner friend says this scarf came in, and it's just like the scarf that I had when I met my husband, and her husband's there. And I thought the big reveal at the end was going to be that her husband was also a snowman that a scarf brought to life. But they give Lacey Chabert this scarf, which she proceeds to go outside in the middle of the night and then give this scarf to a very, very well sculpted snowman.
Which, like, I think my favorite part, and again, they acknowledge this, she like looks at this Adonis of a snowman, and then she looks to the left and right that are just regular ass snowmen on either side of it, because it's insane that someone in this small town, like, I was thinking about this, like, not only did someone in this small town sculpt this snowman, she puts a scarf on this snowman and it comes to life, and there's this whole mystery behind that.
Her friend gave her this scarf. I was really kind of taken aback.
She gave away that scarf so fast.
Gifts a gift.
Yeah, and I don't think they're dry cleaners. I think they have like a Goodwill, like, antique
That's right,
type
because
store.
he goes in and takes the
clothing. Yeah. But the thing that kept running through my mind, I kept looking at Barb when we were watching it. It's like, man, if I had spent a whole day making that snowman and it just disappeared, you would not hear the end of it from me. Where is this person who sculpted
made
this
the snowman?
Like,
wow. Great. You just gave me another question that I have. Because I will say, this movie ends with a lot of questions that I have.
Well, and
but
you know what?
That's not the point. I know it's
not the point, but it does. It leaves you with some questions. But that's part of the fun, part of the charm. I would say this movie really finds its footing the second that Craig Robinson shows up on the scene.
So hold on, because when the snowman comes to life, I really thought we were going Hallmark Encino Man for a second there, where I thought, like, the guy's not even gonna know how to speak at first or some shit.
Yeah.
Yes, we. Like,
missed
out of
opportunity.
nowhere.
He should have yelled happy birthday as soon as he was born. I don't know how they could miss such an obvious thing there.
I don't know.
We better watch what we say. We might lose our chance of talking to the writer if we keep pointing out all these issues.
Dude, Craig Robinson out of nowhere. I had no idea he was in this. Like, when him and Joe Trulio show up, I was like, I'm in. Like, let's go. I was already like, hey, cool, I'm enjoying this. But as soon as those two show up, that brought me fully in. And I think that kind of locked me in for the rest of the movie and everything else that came along with it.
Yeah.
Those two really did steal the show with whatever scenes they were in. You can definitely tell that they were having fun riffing, which is proven at the end credits when they sing an entire song.
Which truly feels like it's being improvised right there in the moment. And it could be because both of them have like sketch and improv backgrounds.
Yes.
But they are so fun. And especially Joe Latrulio, he's such a heartwarming actor to me. Like, he's one of those actors where he's so funny, but he's also so sad and sweet at the same time.
Because he always plays that character. He plays the character that gets bullied in everything that he is in.
Are you troubled by trying to find a great movie podcast to listen to?
Do you experience a love for monster movies, from the classic Universal era to the modern creature features?
Have you or your family ever watched episodes of Elvira, Monster Vision, or Svengoolie?
If the answer is yes, then don't wait another minute. Open up your podcatcher and search for the professionals. The Monster Rally Podcast.
Our hilarious and asinine hosts have an ever-growing library of episodes for you to listen to 24 hours a day to serve all your monster movie needs.
We'll talk about it.
I love when they take Jack. So originally when Jack was taken into the diner, one note I wrote down is, damn, Lacey Chabert is horny as fuck, because it's really wild. Like, she just
nothing
takes him
compared
in
to
there.
these. She's nothing
That's
great to
what
these
I was
old
gonna
ladies.
say.
These
Yes.
fucking old ladies show up.
And the doctor literally goes, have you thought that maybe he is a snowman? And Lacey Chabert's like, the fuck? What? And she goes, it's Christmas. I don't understand Santa and reindeer, but, magic happens. What are you talking about?
Well, even like when we get to the end of this movie and like he's being arrested by Craig Robinson and everyone's just like, well, maybe he is a Santa, maybe he is a snowman. And even Lacey
You guys just accept it?
Yeah, Lacey Chabert's like, y'all are accepting this way too quickly.
Yeah.
I have to talk about the part that made me laugh harder than anything. And this is like, it's one of two things, right? It's either absolute brilliant comedic directing,
Yeah.
or a failure of directing that is so funny. But eventually, as we go through this plot, Jack goes to a Christmas dance.
Yes.
And he befriends Craig Robinson's son in
Which
the movie.
you don't find out is Craig Robinson's son
No,
until
until,
the
like, the
very
last-
end of the movie. It's such
I
a
mean-
fucking funny reveal.
I mean, there's a little bit of a hint giving that they're the only two black people that are in this all-white
It's
town.
also very true. Let's also not forget that I'm pretty sure out of this whole town that is like the economy seems to be doing well in this
Yeah,
small
they're doing
town.
great.
There's like 30 people that live
Yeah,
here.
it is a
in
small-ass
total.
town. But they're standing in the Christmas party.
Yeah.
And he just says to the kid, I have a date. And the kid says, oh, who? And he goes, her, the adult. And he points to Lacey Chabert just standing surrounded by kids. And then he goes, how about you? And he goes, her. And then it just
She's just staring at the camera,
oh my
just waiting. As if this girl's just been sitting there staring at them for the past 20 minutes.
I laughed so hard at that shot that I started to like, when you laugh to the point that you start to feel like a blackout coming in the corners of your face? Like I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to pass out. I'm laughing so hard.
So like there are certain moments where so when Jack was making the eggnog, my first thought was, damn it, I wish I had a Jack here. Like, like to just take care of me and make the eggnog for us and everything.
Well, and I do love that he's trying to learn how to cook different
He's
things.
trying so hard.
But
He
then
is
there's like
the
those bits
perfect
where he'll like
roommate.
make cookies, but he's like, I need you to take it out of the oven because the oven will kill me. Like,
Yeah,
like,
it's very sweet. I will say, like, one of the moments that got me was the cancer discussion. Like,
Yeah, I
when
mean,
it's
that's tough.
revealed, like when he says,
What is
"Hey, I went
cancer?"
down to the basement. What's cancer?" Because I wasn't sure if we were gonna go the divorce route or the death route. In terms
And
of
boy,
why
do
she
we go
wasn't
the
with her
death route
husband.
on this one.
We do. We go really deep into the death route, and it does keep coming up because again, Jack is a snowman. As it's getting warmer, he is also dying. But all of that to say, shifting gears to Jack being a total annoyance, there were certain moments where I'm like, I would have strangled this guy. Number one, when he buys the new pane of glass and he just buys a bunch of shit on the internet using Lacey Chabert's card.
in his
And she's
defense,
like,
he didn't know.
It's my card. And she's like, but she's real chill about it. And I also love that this is right before the Christmas party. It's when they're arguing back and forth. And Jack looks at her straight face and says, I've been trying to lay low like you wanted.
No, he hasn't.
I went, no, you fucking haven't. You have been doing the exact opposite. You've been hanging out with these horny old ladies. You've been fixing shit on the roof, shirtless. You've been going around town doing odd jobs and whatnot. This
Hanging
is
out
not
with high
laying low.
schoolers. Yeah,
This is not laying low at all. And then she's like, you want to go on a shopping trip? Shopping trip? Girl, how much money you got? Because you seem like you're down on your luck.
yeah. Things aren't looking great in the house, but
Some money just, I swear, that was one of my notes. Money just comes out of nowhere. Like, I don't understand.
I mean, that is how that world works. One of the jokes that I had to write down because it made me laugh so much is after he replaces the pane of glass, and Craig Robinson is like, he's like, I know this is a temporary fix, but nothing will fix the pain.
Oh, yes.
And the girl's like, we did fix the pain. That's what this new glass is.
And he says, no, not pain, but pain, P-A-I-N. And she goes, why would I want to replace the pain? So the way this movie wraps up, and this is why I'm saying, to avoid spoilers, you should watch this before we talk. He is arrested by Craig Robinson, who is clearly the worst person in this entire town.
By a mile.
By a mile. Like, this guy is obviously dying, and Craig is just convinced that he's a spy. He burned off his fingerprints and keeps him locked up.
One thing I would love to have seen.
Yeah.
And it maybe have been too horrifying. Because the way that they show Jack dying is like he's sweating profusely.
Like, he should have went full street trash.
Almost. I feel like there should have been like, even if they didn't have to go too crazy, there should have been shots where like he's sweating and then it cuts to like clumps of snow like hitting the floor of the jail cell.
So not clumps of skin?
No. But like that idea of like, no, he's like fully transforming back into like he is dying and becoming melting snow.
Yeah.
At this point, I would have been like, ooh, nice touch. But I guess the flip side would be like more of a reason for Craig Robinson. Like, I feel like,
oh, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, I should probably get this guy outside. Motherfucker's turned into snow.
He's definitely dying. Like, when you arrested him, he was perfectly fine and healthy. And now that he's in this cell.
Dude, when he's so specific about the money, he's like, oh, we're still short $20 on this tooth. But also, like, not for nothing. Like you said, money has seemed plentiful throughout this town. And there's like 50 people outside. You're telling me that amongst 50 people and a safe, they couldn't get to $2,000?
Yeah, no one has $10 more.
Like, listen, I know, like, $2,000 ended up in my bank account. What a happy day. But again, you're taking all of the money out of a safe from a business, and every person in town is throwing in their, like, as much money as they can give up. There's not $2,000 amongst that giant crowd.
Also, what is holding up this crime? I feel like the people with the broken pane of glass aren't pressing charges.
Yeah, no one's pressing charges. I think it's because in his mind, I mean, there was a little bit of this, but even the people who caught him streaking, I mean, the woman didn't seem to care at all.
Yeah.
Well,
that was so funny. You couldn't get her to sketch it? He goes, we needed a sketch of his face.
Because the police sketch is horrific when she like holds it out.
Oh my god, it is so terrifying.
Oh my god. But I think for him it's like how dare, like I have this town has been nothing but peaceful, and now in one night someone's been streaking and smashed a glass and stole some things. So I think it's like
peaceful every day after that.
I think it's his personal pride of just being like, this happened on my watch and I gotta, how dare they?
Oh yeah, he's definitely holding a grudge. So like they get him outside, okay? And this is where my questions start coming in. They get him outside. He's laying down. He's dead.
She takes the scarf back.
Yep, she takes his scarf back. She gives him a kiss. And that's like the Disney kiss, like brings him back to life. And then he's alive. And not only that, he's real. And he's cold. And that's how we reveal that he's real. Why? What happened? How did this happen? I feel like everything up to this point can be explained. Like magic scarf, cool, I can buy that. Like the scarf is magic, it makes him turn
got
alive.
nothing here. I was like, maybe the Wikipedia will explain.
Why is he real at the end? Like, what is the change? Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that I'm trying to figure out the logic behind Hot Frosty. And I, again, much like the writer, very appreciative of that name. Good on you, sir.
Well, I think that
the
flip side, listen, if we're going to talk about the logistics.
Yeah.
I don't think that the scarf was magic. You know what I mean? Like, I think that part of the thing of her taking the scarf off of him. Okay, I've got a couple things here. All right. So part of it was her taking the scarf off of him, I think, was like metaphorical, like, oh, okay, I guess this was what was keeping him alive in the first place, and that was like never the case. It was like Christmas magic. Yeah. But now that we're talking about this,
but if it's Frosty, the scarf is the hat.
But this is what I'm going to get at.
Okay,
the ending of Frosty, the end of the original cartoon Frosty. Frosty melts to a full puddle, and Santa brings him back to life. And he has that whole explanation of like, well, now he's made of Christmas magic snow, so he'll never melt. And he's going to live with me at the North Pole, and he doesn't need the hat anymore. Like, so I'm wondering if it was more. So on the commentary track for the FP, follow me on this. Have you ever seen the FP, the really dumb movie, the FP, where it's like a dystopian future where all the gangs...
Is that the dance battle?
The Dance Revolution?
Yeah.
In the beginning of the movie, a character's brother dies playing Dance Dance Revolution. And in the commentary track, the writer-director actively is like, people want to know, like, how did he die playing Dance Dance Revolution? And the answer is because I need it to do the Rambo the Rambo 2 beginning where, like, he's sworn off stuff and they have to like get him back like it's
so
like
you're saying they needed to do the Frosty ending.
They needed to. I think he was just like, hey, it's fucking hot Frosty, we got to do the Frosty ending. And the Frosty ending is you're pretty sure that he's dead, and then Christmas magic makes it that he'll never die, and he also doesn't need the magic item anymore. But because this is like a romance thing, they're just like, also he's not a snowman anymore, he's a real boy. Like, it's like some from Pinocchio shit or whatever. Like,
I don't know. I needed like
off camera, like Santa. All you needed, because Netflix is fucking lousy with this. All you needed was a dude who looked exactly like Santa in the crowd, like touch his nose or something.
Yep, just
and
do
Dylan
like
would be like all in.
It makes sense now. I get it. Teddy's gonna be like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "He's fucking real. Santa touched his nose." That's all I needed. Or like maybe like Lacey Chabert like has a tear that like comes off her eye and falls into his mouth or something. And
yeah,
like,
I'm telling you, man, as someone who's watched almost every one of these Netflix rom-coms, there are two jokes or two bits that all of these movies love to have. One is Santa Claus is real for no explainable reason in most of them.
Yeah.
Always just out of nowhere. He's just there at the last second to guide them. And goddamn, do they love characters watching other Netflix Christmas movies in their Christmas movie. And this one we get a huge laugh where she's like, I'll put on a Christmas movie for you. Da-dong, it's Falling for Christmas from like 2 years ago. And Lacey Chabert looks at Lindsay Lohan and just goes, God, she looks like someone I went to high school with, before she walks out of the room.
Everything is set in the Mean Girls universe.
Yeah,
and I love it.
Which also, for the record, listeners, no, we're never doing Mean Girls. Stop acting like that shit's a Christmas movie.
No, it's not a Christmas movie. It's just as much like Mean Girls. Listen, I got away with the tough one when I did Scream. That was literally because a new Scream movie was coming out and you wanted an excuse. I needed to talk about it. But no, Mean Girls is not a Christmas movie. Although I will say Mean Girls makes, like, I like to watch Mean Girls around Christmas.
No, but it's the same as like when people act like the Harry Potter franchise are Christmas movies. It's like,
I would like people say the
Christmas
same thing about
scene does not make a Christmas movie. Like,
I'd argue Step Brothers is the same way. Like, I feel like people talk about Step Brothers as a Christmas movie. It's not. There's like a scene of Christmas, and that is
it. That's one time I looked up. I was like, let me look up Christmas movies to get a list of ideas, and About a Boy was on the list, and I'm like, I loved About a Boy. Is that a Christmas movie? The only Christmas stuff about that movie is that there is a scene at Christmas time, and that like Hugh Grant's money that he makes is because his dad wrote a Christmas song. Yeah. But that's it. Like, it's so like, I actually last night rewatched Go and Serendipity, and I'm like, these are way more Christmas movies than like About a Boy or Mean Girls. Like, especially Go. Yeah. Go is filled with like Christmas iconography.
That was such a good watch.
And it's so fun. I would say, deflammatory statement, there's more Christmassy iconography in Go than in Die Hard, but we won't get into that right now because we're talking about Hot Frosty. But
Yes.
like in all sincerity, high bar. I don't know if any of the other Christmas content we're going to watch is going to be as fun. Like Hot Frosty's definitely on the rewatch list every year for me.
This is
on
fun.
the Netflix
this was
stuff.
such a fun watch. I don't think it was. It's a brisk 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's never a dull moment. There are things constantly happening.
What I think is
surprise
interesting,
Craig Robinson.
what I think is really interesting is that the people who I've noticed dislike this movie are like the Hallmark purists.
Really?
Like it's like to them they're like, this is so dumb, and I'm like, yeah, but I think it's a perfect spoof of a Hallmark movie. Like it does all of the Hallmark bits, but in a more absurd like frame.
Hey, Hallmark purists, your movies are dumb too.
Yeah,
and that's
they're
okay.
all dumb. They're all dumb.
It's okay.
It's fine.
It's all right. It's
well,
just fine.
Dylan,
Yeah.
we got so many more of these things that we still have to talk about over the coming weeks.
Woo!
So, we're keeping Christmas alive.
365 days a year, baby. Merry Christmas.
Oh, whoa, oh, now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holly, have a great holly, have a merry happy holiday.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.